Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to an absolutely crazy video that I never thought I would have to record. It is currently 7 in the morning on July 20th, 2022. By coincidence, or maybe by no coincidence, it is also International Chess Day. So happy International Chess Day to you and all your loved ones. Magnus Carlsen, as of about 30-40 minutes ago, has made it official to his sources, and Chess24 tweeted about it, that he is relinquishing the World Championship title and has no interest in defending it. Yes, it is not clickbait. I don't usually make news videos like this that are going to be 10 minutes long, but bear with me. In this video, I'm going to show you the article that they put out and Magnus explaining why he's not going to be defending his title, and then I'm going to share my thoughts on it after. Video is split into two parts. You can jump around on the timestamps if you'd like. This is absolutely nuts. This is actually just straight up crazy. So I saw this tweet this morning. Breaking news, Magnus will not defend his title. And then I decided to click on the link. Shout out to Colin for writing this. Magnus, the five-time world champion, ends months of speculation by saying that he will not defend his title. Which means that Dingley Ren will play against Jan Nepomniachtchi for the championship at a later date. And we will talk about that later in my thoughts. So Magnus has been world number one for a decade. He's had a love-hate relationship. A lot of people actually don't realize that he didn't play in his first candidates in 2011 despite being eligible. He didn't like the format. You can read more about that later. Magnus said prior to this candidates that if Alireza Firouzja didn't win it, he probably wouldn't defend it. And people were like, yeah, old man barking at a tree. You know, they kind of were like blowing it off. I mean, kind of so was I. I thought it was just a money thing or something. Anatoly Karpov and Hoi Fan both gave up their world championship titles because they didn't like the format, but Bobby Fischer was the only one who gave up his title and retired. We all know the story of Bobby. If you don't, very easy to look up. Now, this one was weird. Magnus met with the president of FIDE and Emil Sutovsky for 40 minutes in Madrid during the candidates, and it seemed like they were just discussing the format. That's what it seemed like they were talking about. Yeah, apparently he met with them and he didn't have any demands. He had a couple of suggestions. The gist of it was that he was there to tell them that he will not defend his title, and they had a small talk. That's crazy, which just means that the public never really knows what's going on, right? Because nobody knew that they had that meeting, and then we're like, oh, he's not going to defend. We thought it's a format issue. He wants more rapid. He wants more of this. He wants more of that. It's a sponsor thing. Yeah, this is the story of how he became the world champion. Magnus... in 2013, very, very closely, apparently didn't even want to play in the event, but won it just barely. And obviously he's beaten Anand twice, Karyakin, Caruana, and now Jan Nepomniachtchi. The most interesting thing, this is just kind of a history. This is not the most important stuff. But Magnus says how in 2016, he did not feel motivated. He played the match because other people wanted him to, and Magnus actually said the craziest thing is that he was the least stressed in 2018 during his match against Fabiano because it was so close, and he, I guess, felt like losing to anybody, and like in the case of Fabiano, it wouldn't be the end of the world. He actually felt most at peace. He had fun during the match. The most interesting thing is stuff like this. So when Magnus won the title in 2014, he tweeted 2 down, 5 to go. So this was after, whoops, we don't, okay. I didn't realize clicking on that would send me to Twitter. Magnus said 2 down and 5 to go. It sounds like the LeBron James, not 1, not 2, not 3. Kasparov thought he meant 7 world championships. But this was really funny. Magnus literally said that he didn't mean anything by it. I did have an Instagram post after the match, which was 2 down, 5 to go. I can reveal now that was just to mess with people. I never had a goal of winning 7 championships. So it's like, on the one hand, we want to listen to things that Magnus tweets. Good food here, by the way. Needs a little bit more vegetables, though. But yeah, I guess you just cannot take anything that he is saying with 100% certainty, which is why we kind of thought he was like boy who cried wolf. But he's still going to be playing chess. He's only retiring from the match. That's really all that's going on. And that means that Dingley Ren and Jan Nepomniachtchi will play for the title. Now, the rest of this article is just kind of a summary of the candidates. So, okay, let's do a quick recap here before I share my thoughts and before we all kind of debrief. So Magnus Carlsen is not defending the classical World Chess Championship as we know it. And it will now be contested between the first and second finisher in the candidates, which was Jan Nepomniachtchi and Ding Liren. It's a lack of motivation. Now, let's first address that. He says that it's a lack of motivation. He's still motivated by getting to 2,900, for example. I would love to know the curiosity of an elite athlete, the mindset of an elite athlete like Magnus. What goes into that motivation? Like, is it the fact that he already knows he's the best player in the world? You don't need to prove that in a one-on-one setting. Is it the prize? For example, if the world championship winner got $50 million, if chess was just an insanely massive sport, do you think it's that? Do you think what is it, right? Because this almost never happens. The only comparison that I can draw this to, I'm a mixed martial arts fan. I make a lot of analogies in my videos. Khabib Nurmagomedov, right? Khabib retired undefeated, lost one round to Conor McGregor ever. And it's kind of the same thing. You still think he can absolutely be dominant in these settings, but he's done. Obviously, Khabib had his father passed tragically, and he promised his mother that he would stop fighting. I don't think Magnus promised any relative that he would stop playing chess. So I would love to know what goes into motivation. Is it just what is it, right? Is it the format? Is it the prize? What could it possibly be? Because I don't know. I'm asking the question. I don't know what it's like to be an elite athlete. You've seen this. I've retired from 2,400 over the board level play. This guy is arguably the greatest player ever, right? So that's number one. I really would love to know what exactly is that motivation? Because we hear motivation, but what is that, right? Is it because he still wants to play chess? So it's interesting that he's going to keep playing chess. It's interesting he's going to kind of play in the Super Bet, Rapid and Blitz, and he's still going to play the World Rapid Championship, World Blitz Championship, which are totally separate events with 20 rounds at the end of the year. I don't know if you know this. I'm sure you do. You can win the Triple Crown. So interesting on that end, right? That's one element of it. And it's crazy that he's not going to be defending his title one-on-one. So now we move on to the title itself. Does anybody else get this really uncomfortable feeling that whoever wins the title isn't really the best player in the world? Isn't that a weird thing to think about now? Because on the one hand, you have the situation like in the UFC, where Charles Oliveira has won the belt, and there's still that question, well, if Khabib was the champ, would he even be here, something like that. I feel like this is a different story. On the one hand, we can say that's the world champion. Here's the clear best player in the world who doesn't want to defend or compete for the world championship for whatever the motivation is. Now we have this weird situation. So I'm rooting for who's ever going to win it, I'm cheering for who's ever going to play for it. But it's such a weird situation now. You got a world champion and a best player in the world, but they're not. It throws everything up. And the last thing, folks, is my God. I feel for Hikaru, man. I don't know if he will ever. I don't know if he will publicly share any sort of frustration he may feel. Maybe he truly is just sort of at peace and relaxed about the situation. But for those that don't know, in the final round of the candidates, Hikaru had the black pieces versus Ding Liren, and a draw or a win got Hikaru second place in the candidates, which now we know would have gotten him a chance to play against Jan. Nobody actually thought that mattered. Nobody really, 10% of people legitimately, truly in their hearts believed Magnus was going to relinquish the title, including, I think, the players of the candidates. And that's a little messed up to me. You know what I mean? It's really weird in chess. We have to elect a candidate and then the world champ's like, all right, cool, I'm ready to go. So you got to know in advance if the guy's defending, if second place is really a thing. It changes everything. I mean, you're going to take a quick draw earlier in the event. Hikaru took a quick draw. I forget, against Jan when he had the black pieces, right? He took a quick Berlin draw. So, but man, I mean, Hikaru in the last round of the candidates just needed a draw, and Ding pushed and pushed and pushed, and Hikaru made a mistake, the bishop d8 move in the late 30s, and he lost, and Ding now is the candidate. That is, Again, I don't know what it's like to be an elite athlete. I'm just sharing with you my gut feeling on the situation. It's been half an hour since the news broke, another 10 minutes in recording this video. Unbelievable, folks. Just actually crazy. I feel for Hikaru. Jan and Ding now will compete for the World Championship. And I think I've said everything I wanted to say in about a 10-minute span, but This deserved its own video because nothing like this has happened in my lifetime of following the game. You just sort of assume that these top elite level players will stick around. But the truth is, in the UFC, for example, like what I follow, being a champion means something financially. You have an elevated contract. You get percentage of pay-per-view points. You probably get flown out on various private jets. You get the sponsors. Magnus already has the sponsors. Magnus has the publicity. Magnus has all of that. I don't think the chess world is the same. If you become the world champion, it's still up to you to find your own sponsors. Like Magnus has Unibet, for example, right? The betting company, betting platform. He has a Puma. But when you become the world chess champion and FIDE grants you that title, you don't get any sort of... there's no pay-per-view in chess, so you could be the best player in the world and not be world champion, and maybe you won't even feel that much of a financial effect. Maybe he wants to go try to play poker, which is what he's been trying to do. So, folks, I don't know. This is an absolutely insane situation. Do discuss in the comments on all the subjects I said, and if I worded something in a odd way and I triggered some of you, I'm sorry. Honestly, I'm just recording this off the cuff. It's 7 in the morning. Coffee I had like 2 sips of. All right, so I didn't mean any offense to anything that I said. I'm honestly just sharing my first thoughts, and yeah. Okay, I just dropped my headphones. Terrific. Wow. Best of luck to Jan and Ding. And before I sign off, I mean, is he not the world champion anymore? Is he stripped of his title? Like, I don't know how this works. Is he the world champion until another one is crowned? Folks, I'm so confused. But all I know right now is Magnus will not be defending his title in 2023. That's crazy. I'll see you in the next video. Get out of here.